Welcome to Trade Talk, Mr. Mark Noia. Very special episode to have you on tonight, or today, sorry. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Thanks for inviting me on the show. Good to be here.
Mate, pleasure to have you on board, and would love for you to start off just by telling us a bit of a background about yourself.
Sure. Well, in my story, grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My dad always had kind of 3 or 4 businesses running at any one time. And that's the kind of environment that I really grew up in. My first business was at age 10, mowing lawns in my local suburb, and it really made a lot of sense to me at an early age. Being a business owner, you provide a good product or service, you're going to get rewarded for it, particularly if you work hard. And I love that, mate. And my first real business, I should say, was at 21 years of age, service station up in the Blue Mountains. That's still there today. And I was 21. I was business partner with my brother-in-law, who was 24, and mate, we're very wet behind the ears. I can tell you that it was exciting up until the point of starting that business. Then it became a real harrowing experience for the next 6 months because we almost went belly up. And it was my first introduction to business, and it really taught me to respect kind of business and making sure that you earn your stripes and you learn along the way. And fortunately, from that point on, I've been blessed to have a really successful career that I'm proud of.
It's 21 into business is very wet behind the ears. Man, when I was 21, I was a different person, mate. So how was the experience going as such a young person into business? I mean, obviously you came from an entrepreneurial background, so you knew what was involved, but how, being 21 and doing your own business is much different to, either working for someone or seeing someone do business. So how did you find that experience, mate?
I think at 21, you're very ignorant. There's a lot that I didn't know, and I think that probably helped me to be able to seize an opportunity. The older that I get, sometimes the more that you know, knowledge can become a liability in a way. Because you can be quite cautious. Whereas at 21, look, I don't know if it's got something to do with, unfortunately, my father passed away early on in my life, and I looked up to him. He was my idol. And I think, throughout my teenage years, I just had this thing in me that I really wanted to achieve and prove a point and really get out of the gates really early. I think that kind of helped me seize that first opportunity. Although I didn't know much, that ignorance did help me, get a start. And when you get a start, you quickly realize then what good is a start if you don't carry on from there. So, copying a lot of punches to the chin in that first 6 months made me realize, be careful what you ask for in life. And I think in being a business owner, be careful for wanting to be a business owner, because with that becomes a great responsibility to look after the people around you and your suppliers, your staff, and you really ultimately come last in that end of the chain. But if you can do a good job, then even though you come last, it'll be a rewarding experience for all matter of reasons. And that's why I look back on it and I wouldn't have done anything different, because even though there's been ups and downs, I've loved the journey, and the journey hasn't finished.
Yeah, man, I think very wise words. I myself, I'm still pretty young and being involved with a lot of businesses and speaking to a lot of business owners. It's very different to what people think. People think, oh, you have a business and that's great and you're loving life, but the sacrifice is intense. The late nights, the weekends, the early mornings, etc., etc. There's a lot of etceteras that go into it that people don't see. And I myself, when I was young and coming on board with Trademark, with Sam, seeing the sacrifice is very motivating as well, and it's very insightful to see how much you put in. People will think, oh, running a servo, for example, would be so simple. The guy comes, puts the fuel in, he goes and gets a chips, he gets a meat pie, and that's it. But the backgrounds, staff don't rock up. I don't remember, we had a conversation. You were like, at the end of the day, if the staff don't come, I'm the one that has to work. So things like that, and that's something like a service station that people think, oh wow, it's so that's a simple thing. So going into business is at that young age, I think it blessing and a curse, I guess. Would you agree?
I think so. Yeah. And definitely now looking back on that time, definitely a blessing, because that really helped me kind of transition to that next part of my career where I was a co-owner in a building company. which we grew quite successfully. And without that experience, those hard knocks in those early years, I don't think I would have been able to add value and take the hard knocks that the building industry certainly comes with it. And I think everything happens for a reason, and resilience is so important as in business and being a business owner. And typically with these times in the pandemic, it's a perfect environment to really showcase how important resilience is.
Speaking of resilience and the pandemic, like from your personal experience, like going into the pandemic, something that I've certainly never experienced before. And, you see, different viruses, different parts of the world, but it never sort of affects us here. But then this was, becoming a reality that, the first COVID case, the second COVID case, the third COVID case. And then suddenly, there's lockdowns, there's no toilet paper, there's no pasta, canned food. From your experience in the past with business and, being a part of different businesses, what did you expect going into the pandemic? And then when we got out of it, what was the reality versus your expectation?
My expectation at the start of the pandemic was this was going to be really bad for business. Just the economic fundamentals, not being able to transact, not being able, that demand cut off, and the uncertainty was clearly bad signs for the economy and businesses at large. What I noticed 2021 in that first lockdown was when we got out of it, it wasn't as bad as what I thought it would be. I think the economic stimulus that the government came to the party with helped tremendously, and we adapted pretty quickly. And the general sense was, hey, that wasn't as bad as what we probably thought it would be. What's interesting is this year, 2022, in the second lockdown, before it, I thought, hey, we've done this before. It's not going to be that bad. We've done it before. We can do it again. My experience now entering our fourth month of lockdown has been, no, this is actually a lot worse than what I thought it would be. And it's hard to articulate why. And I think we're in Sydney, and now I can start to empathise with what Melbourne has gone through last year and is still going through. That 4 months of a lockdown affects us mentally, not only financially. And there's only so much, that we can chew up. We're herd animals. We need to be with people. We need community. We need freedoms. And I think, we're almost out. There's hope that we're almost out, which is fantastic. Didn't think it was going to be as bad, I think, even psychologically, as what it has been for the business community and the society at large.
I actually agree with you wholeheartedly. I think going into the pandemic last year was very uncertain, very panicky. Everyone, not just me or, the people I speak to, everybody that I know that I've spoken to, employees of different companies, friends, family, everyone was like, what's going on? And it's very surreal because, as I mentioned previously, you see something that happens overseas, for example, pandemic, war. It doesn't affect you here, but this was not only affecting you here, us here, but a worldwide sort of thing. And at that time, we were lucky. We got out of it relatively quick. Sydney did. I mean, Melbourne, unfortunately, is back and forth like a yo-yo. But, Sydney got out of it quick. Brisbane, the major cities in Australia as a whole sort of recovered, with the government provided stimuluses, and businesses were affected, of course, but not as bad. And then going into it this year, not only just as a person, the lockdown has been different. I don't know, last year, but it didn't feel that bad. I remember, I think we were in lockdown during the Easter break, and it was the first Easter break that was like, everyone was quiet, and they were talking about how this is going to be the make or break, and the roads were dead and everything was quiet. And then going into it this year as well, like you were just like, okay, well, we've done it before. Let's do it. And then, 1 week, 2 week, 4 week, 5 week, a month, 2 months. I've even lost count of how many cases there are today, but I truly believe that this year's lockdown has been much more harder. Obviously, the duration, the restrictions have been more. Like last year, we never had that 5K sort of thing. We never had a curfew in Sydney. We never had any of that. So not only has the lockdown been harder because of people can't go see people for the last 3-4 months, however long it's been, but it's also, I feel it's harder because it's just people are over it, People can do a month, maybe, can do 2 months, as businesses as well, For the first time ever, the construction industry got shut down, and that's like the backbone, that's the foundation of our society, So for that to get shut down was massive, massive. And it's not something that's going to recover, I don't think, anyways, in a year or two. We're going to feel the effects of this for a while. And even right now, like a lot of the people that I speak to, A lot of the sites, the project managers, the people that work in construction companies, their sites are still, they're operating 50% capacity, so, and then, there's a COVID case, it gets shut down for another 3 days, 4 days, 2 days, whatever. So it's still continuing. And the impact on mental health on a lot of people, everyone I speak to, I feel, is frustrated. They like, they don't tell you I'm frustrated, but just you can tell from their tone of voice, they're rearing to go. So it's great that we have that light, that you know light at the end of the tunnel that we're all running towards, and hopefully, in the next couple of weeks we'll be out of this, and it will be a distant memory in a not too distant future.
Yeah, and during the period, obviously, I get to work with a lot of business owners in the leadership teams, and throughout my networks, to speak to a lot of entrepreneurs. And it's almost like my experience has been, it's the tale of two businesses. Some businesses have actually done really, really well during the pandemic, and other businesses have been knocked around pretty hard, and some have not continued to exist. And for me, what comes up for me is just what kind of the role luck plays in business. And sometimes, and that's what my message is to the businesses that either have been positively affected or particularly have been negatively affected. It's not your doing. We still have to, as business owners, take responsibility for our businesses, and we have to adapt with the environment, sure, but it's just bad luck, and at the end of the day, and it's important not to kind of forget about all the years of the hard work that's done. It is what it is. It's not anyone's fault. This is out of our control. Yes, we have to deal with it, and there's going to be no easy way out. But as business owners, if there's anyone that can do it, it's business owners and entrepreneurs, because you have to be resilient. You're always at the end of the queue, and you have to take responsibility for everything, your whole environment. And we've got the capability. The other thing that I see is, no matter which way, which bucket you're in, the haves or the have-nots, we've got this incredible ability to still move forward. So that's what I'm seeing. No matter what everyone's story is or how they're affected, I just see business owners still moving forward. Yes, we need to talk. Yes, we need to vent. It's important that we have our communities that we can lean on. But I just see this moving forward, and I just pay my hat. I tip my hat to every business owner out there that continues to do it. You and I are no different, and I just think there's something special in that, and we need to have that long-term view and keep just being true to our vision. And it'll only make success more sweeter when in years back we look back on this and say, hey, we got through it. I think that's a moment that we're all going to relish.
100%. And I think you touched on one of the most important things, especially during times like this. Like, in any time is important, but during times like this, and that's community. And obviously yourself being a proud member of the Trademark Group of Companies, and having such a great group of people, great vast, different variety of people within the same industry as well. I think that's great, because you can be in a group with somebody and have a conversation with them, communicate with them, and they'll get you, because they're in the same sort of boat with you. And so how have you found the Trademark Group of Companies and the community? Like, especially during these times?
Look, really, really good. I mean, the thing with communities is you don't really appreciate the community and what the community can give you, provide for you, when you don't have one. So it can be very isolating with being on your own and just being in your thoughts. And we've all got families, and we've got our staff and our workplaces. They're a form of community, but just to be able to branch out and have other more trusted communities where, particularly with Trademark Group of Companies, where it's particularly focused on construction, there's more relatedness and there's more connection. And during these times, I think that becomes really, really important, because you need to know that you're not alone. You need to know that you're not just running your own race. There's other people that are there also running their race, and once you get that point of relatedness and that communication that we've got as a group and that good intention, then it's amazing what kind of opportunities flow from it. I know the group, there's opportunities almost on a daily basis that we're seeing, be cultivated through the group. And I think that's all a testament to the directors and the founders of the Trademark Group of Companies to put it there in the first place, and to invite the right kind of members who really value that connection. I think that's happening, and I think we're all going to be the better for it if we can do this. And it's just online at the moment. I can't wait to get in person and be able to go face to face, because I feel like that's only when the good relationships only become stronger.
100%. I think obviously you've been to a couple of our events pre-pandemic or pre-lockdown, and there was already bubbles in the air, So now it's especially now that everyone's cooped up and just and they want to get out there, and they want to meet, they want to have a chat, and so it's just about harvesting the opportunities that are presented. Like you said, there's daily synergies within the group, synergies that are coming together, and it's bloody amazing. It's you can't put any word to it. Something as small as I need this, or something as big as I need to put together a group of people to go help on this project, and however small, however big, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think the evidence of that's really clear, and that's a testament to the goodwill in the club already and relationships that are forging, which is fantastic. I think the thing that I'm loving most is just that generosity and that goodwill, even just that human connection that I think we really need, particularly in these times. But even when we get out of this, I think there's going to be so much work out there, so much opportunity, and we're going to need to work really hard to be able to claw back, what we've lost. That who better to do it with than people that you like, people that you want to also help. I think that way, at the end of the day, we succeed together in lockstep. That's the right way to do it. That's the way to do it that we'll look back on and feel proud about. So, I think creating the Trademark Group of Companies and that community that we're able to build those relationships allows us to have essentially more satisfaction, in our daily work.
100%, 100%. I mean, community in general is great, but having a community that's so willing to work together is you can't put a value on that. It's just it's an honor to be a part of that group for myself, even just learning from all these business owners that are and entrepreneurs that have been a part of business for so many years, just like yourself. Been a part of a few different businesses, and there's so much to learn, there's so much to do. So I think it's wonderful.
That's great. What do you feel like is the outlook when we get out of the lockdown? What are you seeing for the next 6 to 12 months?
I just want to get out there and just meet, see someone face to face. I think it's going to be pretty much the same for everybody. They just want to get out there. They've been cooped up for the last 3 months, and they probably will get the pass from their wives and partners. They've been cooped up together for a long time, so there's no more excuses of, I can't come, I gotta take the missus out. You've been at home with the missus for a while, or I can't come home, I can't come to the thing, to the event because of my partner or my husband. So it's I think for the next six to 12 months, I think it's all about just building relationships, building events, getting together, communicating with everybody about what's upcoming, what's happening, and building that, I guess, that platform, that strong network. I think that which is happening now, even though it's digital. But imagine once it's all together, once there's a few people in a room together, chatting together rather than over message or digitally or however they're doing it now. So I think that's the outlook.
The most lasting and enduring relationships are the ones built in person, forged in social settings where people get to know each other and people do business with people they like. So I think any opportunity, whatever community, whatever forum that can create that and do that well, authentically, is going to be a valuable asset.
I certainly agree, Mr. Mark, and I really appreciate your time. Any final thoughts?
just be prepared. Once we get out of this lockdown, I think it's easy to kind of been beaten down. I've even myself been beaten down a bit in that, with the restrictions taken away, with not being able to meet people, not being able to see my clients at times. It's almost like this inevitability that we just need to wait. But I think now's the time when we need to be prepared to open up and to get back to normal, and that means getting back out there, connecting, bringing that energy that maybe wasn't there, bringing it out there, and ready to have a really strong end to the year. I think we need it as individuals. I think our business and our teams need it, and I think the country needs it. So my message to everybody, including myself, is, we're almost there. The light is at the end of the tunnel. Be prepared, because now's the time that you need to be active. You need to be responsive and really offer value and help others. Because in 6 to 12 months' time, if we can do that, then we're going to look back, and it's just going to be a blip in the radar.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I probably wouldn't have said it better myself. That's great. So yeah, just get out there and let's have a crack, I guess.
That's right. And looking forward to that beer that you and I have waited so long to have, mate. Yes, I will be having a beer this time, mate. No more really diets or
mate,
drinking
this
alcohol.
Is recorded.
Ready to party.
This is recorded and going on the interweeds.
I'm on the record. Yeah, you can send it to my wife. Yeah, I won't be home that night. We're going to be partying. So, and we deserve it. We deserve
for the record, for our viewers that are saying, what are these two talking about? Every time I speak to Mark, he's like, "Oh, mate, I'm off the alcohol. I'm dieting. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." And now the pandemic's broken Mark.
I'm breaking. I'm ready to be rebuilt, mate. But we need to have a beer first. So I love it, and also all the members in the community. I feel like we know a lot of each other now through the chat forums. But I think we're just going to go to another level when we meet face to face. So I look forward to meeting all our members and getting to know everyone that bit more.
Cannot wait. Thank you for your time, mate. It was a great chat. Love your work, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Love your work too, mate.
See you, mate.
Cheers.